So welcome to our gardens here at Offutt Lake and my home studio. This is the 2020 Spring Art Show, and it's virtual and online because we can't do a studio visit this year. So let's go on into the first room. We're going to go from the gardens into the kitchen with art that's in a garden theme. Each of these artworks, they're graphite drawings and a stone lithograph, and one serigraph actually, the screen print, silk screen. They are garden metaphor, a visual metaphor for our lives. And if you look at the navigation panel in the art website, in my website, they'll be called graphite drawings. Just click on graphite drawings and you can look at these. So there is one oil painting in the midst of the drawings and stone lithographs in the garden themed room, and the imagery of this one oil painting is the Cape Dee Lighthouse, where the Columbia River meets the Pacific Ocean. It's in the theme of soul refreshing waters, and I have a whole series of artworks called Quiet Waters that we'll get to look at soon. As I entered into my home studio, I breathed in a sweet fragrance of linseed oil and oil of spike lavender. I used them to dilute the oil paints and to use them like a thinner in place of a petroleum-based mineral spirits. So they're actually very healthy and they smell delicious. So the whole studio smells like this. I wish you could smell it. And then I've got some more oil paintings over here that I've done in previous years actually. They're not part of the new series, and some watercolors. And then dye painted silk using water-based dyes, and I set them with a steam environment, and that gives them their vibrant, brilliant color because the dyes bond to the silk fiber, to the protein inside of it. And I've got a theme of a lily pad and dragonflies and some sand dollars, birds, and the Acer, the vine maple. I love the vine maple leaf shape and some oaks. So obviously nature, lots of natural themes in my work. And some of those are online. They're not all in my gallery. Okay, and we'll just move on out into the next room here. This is the main living room. This was my grandparents' home. And I've got pastels and watercolors there on the piano. Lots of watercolors there and some glass. And then you're catching just a sneak peek here of the oil paintings from the new series, from the 30 Days of Painting. And I'm just going to keep going around. We're going to come back to those in just a minute. Okay, so out here we have a sun porch, an enclosed sunroom, and I've got some succulents here. And dye painted silk again, this time under frame, under glass. And they're beautiful when they're framed because the silk fibers are slightly dimensional and they are a little bit holographic. They catch the light and the iridescent surface. It's very beautiful. These are watercolors that I did 2 years ago in a self-challenge to paint for 50 days. And I painted in watercolor at that time. So back to the silk painted, dye painted silks. These are in the theme of water, coastal waters. The tannins from the leaves out on the Olympic Peninsula, they stain the rocks and they make beautiful colors. I've got some neckties here. There's some glass. I have more glass, but I just don't have it all out for this show. Really kind of feature the oil paintings. Here's a commissioned oil painting that I'm creating for a friend who's an architect, and he's designed his own home. And the imagery means a lot to them. It's significant. It's from the Olympic Peninsula also. Symbols from Ruby Beach area. So here's a glance back into this room. We're going to come back to those in a minute because I want to show you stone lithographs first. So we'll go down the hall here and we'll go see the stone lithographs. So in my website, in the top right navigation panel, they'll be called Stone Impressions. But they're basically hand-drawn on limestone, and then inked up with the oil-based ink, so water and oil don't mix. And anyway, there's a video actually on my website. You can watch the stone lithograph process video, and explains it very clearly because you can see the process. And I've got these in 5 themes. Sorry, I'm going really fast, but I want to get right back to the oil paintings that we're going to feature, the 30 days of painting. So that's coming up here shortly. These are in a theme of wall-less living, so they're birds that nest on the ground without any nests. Okay, and we're back in this room here. So back to the living room. These are some more silks and some watercolors up on the top. A lot of these are in my gallery, in my website. So here we are back to the new original landscape paintings from my self-challenge to 30 days of painting. This spring, with the outbreak of the coronavirus, I found myself at home, safe but shut in, with no classes, no meetings, and no community involvement. This opened my schedule, and it opened my studio. So here's the word that came to my mind. It was, look into your hands. What do you see? What are you holding? Now, do what you can with what you have. So I had art supplies and an open schedule, and I had the talent in my hands, and so I painted. I painted daily, Monday through Friday for 6 weeks. I painted in oils on small canvases, and I painted in soft pastels on Colorfix paper, a textured paper. I started a new painting most every day. Sometimes I did 2 paintings in one day. I often touched up the daily paintings on Saturdays, so technically I painted more than 30 days. But the idea was to give myself permission to paint for at least 30 days. Because often as an artist, I spend more time in the business side of things than I do in the studio. So this was like a retreat. The imagery of these 30 paintings is from our beautiful state of Washington, and most of the imagery is from within walking distance of my home studio. So some are from the lake, some are from the Chehalis Western Trail, where I walk almost every day, just areas nearby. Each painting has kind of 3 ingredients. Each painting is about a particular place. Each painting has a particular season or a moment in time, and there's a distinct light and shadow. So a sense of place, a sense of time, and a unique lighting. So in this season of stay home, and in the season of painting for me, I've been asking myself, what am I drawn to? What are my needs? Like, what comes to the surface when you're in a time of challenge or adversity? And there are kind of 2 things that came to the surface, and one was just a need for direction or clarity, and the other aspect was just peace, comfort and peace. And so it's interesting, those 2 themes came up in my paintings, and the first metaphor for the whole section is turning. I use the word turning for it, and turning is about direction. It's about situation, like how am I situated? Which way am I facing, and how am I positioned for strategy? It's about momentum, it's about pacing, it's about timing. So this season of slowdown has quieted my own busy schedule. The quiet has revealed my soul condition, where I need some soul care. It's revealed and clarified my path, and it's reset my pace. So I'm receiving this season, even though it's got adversity in it, I'm receiving it as a healthy reset of my tempo and of my choices of activities. So I'm just asking, what's going to be my take home? What am I going to learn from this that's going to help me? So hopefully I am numbering my days aright to gain a heart of wisdom. And so the theme of turning in these artworks, the metaphor, visual metaphor, is about where I'll step and how quickly I step or pause, and I see it as a very fitting metaphor for my life in this season. And then the second visual metaphor in this series of 30 paintings is of quiet waters. The virus season has challenged our contentment, our convenience, and sometimes our peace. My artist's response to these inner and outer tensions is to paint places of peace, places of quiet waters. To me, quiet waters embodies sila, rest, and pause. And it does this in soul-restoring places of peace, lakes, rivers, streams, ocean. To me, the water imagery is soul-refreshing, and so I've painted these places to notice them, because when we paint, we're in the moment, very observant. So I'm noticing them and to receive them well myself, and then, of course, to share them. So I hope that they do bring blessings to many people. Please do share this website with others, and because it's free to view and to just see beauty and places of peace and to consider the metaphors. And some of it's not so intellectual, it's just something we have a gut response to art, and that's what I like so much about it, is it touches the soul, the spirit, and the mind. So thanks for visiting my website. Thanks for visiting my virtual studio tour this year, my first online studio show. It's kind of strange to have a studio show and then put it online, but I think this is great. I'm glad to share it with you and with everybody.